I got another public service announcement that I got to say it. I think this is like number 3, the fourth time maybe that I've said this on the show. But if you go to Costco and you get a free sample, I'm talking to you. You know exactly who I'm talking to. Do the whole world a favor and just pull that cart and you and whoever else you're with over to the side. Get your sample, enjoy it, and get out of people's way. I'm sick and tired of going there every weekend. We're a family of 4. I got 2 hungry teenagers. We're there every weekend. And every weekend I'm in and out of like traffic cones trying to avoid people because, and the best part is, actually the worst part is that dang well you're not going to purchase what's that free sample, what it is. You're not going to buy it. You're telling them what they want to hear, and you're getting that sample or 2 or 3. And then you're sticking around right in the middle, blocking everyone, trying to just go about their day. So my public service announcement one more time. If you go to Costco, Sam's Club, wherever you go shopping, Sam's Club, whatever, Costco over Sam's Club, get out of the way. Just get out of the way. All right. I got it out of my system again. All right. Admin, you're probably not going to like this episode, and this episode is not meant to offend you in any way. I apologize if you take offense to this, but remember that you do apply pressure to your staff members, your teachers, to do their best in the classroom. Absolutely. You have the best intentions with your students or with your teachers to do the best and get the best out of your students. But most of the time, teachers, everyone else, they want to kind of keep you at bay. And for the most part, people like to be left alone to do their job and to do it well. I know you're not hovering over us. You're not hovering over teachers, but there can be a sense of pressure, anxiety, and stress when you walk into a room. Kind of reminds me of the Office episode after Stanley has that heart attack, and then Michael's kind of walking through the office, and Stanley's like stressometer, whatever you want to call it, that he wears around his wrist, kind of goes off as Michael gets closer to him. And then Michael realizes that he's the stressor in the office. It's kind of the same idea. Without even wanting to, you are applying that pressure and stress. You are the boss. You are the admin. You are the CEO of that building, that brick and mortar building. So it comes with the territory. However, in this episode is meant for you, teachers, admin. If you want to peep game and listen to some advice here, by all means, go ahead and do so. But this episode is for teachers, and teachers, actually, admin, you're probably going to agree with everything that I say, because everything that I say equates to good teaching. So these actually, admin, I'm doing you guys a favor, telling your teachers to do this. Maybe you listen to this episode. So let's get right into it. These 5 things might actually sound difficult, but when you do them in the long run and you keep your admin out of your classroom, it's a great thing. And if you stick to these, you're going to be a better educator, not only for yourself, but for your students. And you'll actually start missing admin to the point where you're going to invite them more and more to your classroom. That way they can witness and see the great things that you're doing in your 4 walls. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. I've got my protein shake right here. Trying to keep it low cal, low fat, a little protein. 5 things to keep admin out of your classroom. Tip number 1 to keep admin out of your classroom: make it a point to talk to admin when you cross paths with them in the hallways. What does that mean? Well, when you see admin before, after school, during planning period or what have you in the hallway, make it a point, go out of your way to actually have a conversation with them. That conversation doesn't have to be 20, 30 minutes. It could be a 1-2 minute, hey, how are you doing? How are things going? We're doing this in our classroom, this, that, and the other. Keep them in the loop of what's going on. Ask them how their day is going. Return that favor. Be the listener as well. That way admin's walking around with 1,000 things going on in their head all at the same time. It's always a good idea to ask them how they're doing and have them kind of communicate to you, and to turn those tables so that you're the listener as well, because that just, it adds value to admin, And when they see you more and have more conversations with you more, there's less of a tendency for admin to say, I haven't really seen Gabriel in quite some time. I'm going to go visit him right now. I'm going to do like an unannounced classroom visit or what have you in his classroom. If you keep those conversations going with admin all the time, there's a less chance of that happening. Let's get some protein in us. Oh, that's good. That's chocolate, peanut butter, banana. Good stuff there. All right. Tip number two, to help keep admin out of your classroom. Keep up with your grades. Keep up with that grade book. Follow your district policy. If your district policy states that you have to give 2 grades per week, add at the very least 2 grades per week. The more and more you give admin a reason to follow you, make it to your classroom, ask you about stuff, to follow up with stuff with things like grades, the more chances are that they are going to actually walk into your classroom in your space and ask you for the stuff, see what things are going on in your classroom. And that's not a bad thing, but they're there because you weren't following protocols. Keep those grades up to date. Whatever your district policy, admin policy, building policy is for grades and how many per week or per month and all that good stuff, make sure that you adhere to those policies because that is going to keep admin out of your room. Tip number 3 for keeping admin out of your classroom, teachers, is handle any student and parent situations accordingly. No one, and I mean no one, likes to be blindsided. No one likes to hear of something after the fact. Nevertheless, a campus administrator, they are technically the CEO, the COO, whatever you want to call it, of that building. That's their job. That's their primary focus. They need to know if something comes up and they want to know about it before it actually escalates. So if you have something that you can nip in the bud with your students that's going on in your room, take care of it. Even if you took care of it, and there could be a possibility for a phone call from a parent or two, or even worse, a phone call from an administrator at another campus or from the district office, make sure you communicate that to your admin before. No one likes to be blindsided, nevertheless, an administrator. So tip number 3 is to make sure that you handle things accordingly with your students and your parents. That way, these things don't come up and you give an admin a reason to come knocking at your door. Failing grades is also one of those that you want to make sure if students are failing, communicate that with the parents. No parent wants to bombard admin and talk to them about failing grades and they didn't know about a failing grade. That's because the communication wasn't there. If you take care of that stuff and nip it in the bud before it gets to them, much greatly appreciated on the administrative point of view in part, and also less of a reason for admin to come knocking at your door. That reminds me, as a classroom teacher, we make phone calls all the time. A lot of times those phone calls can be for negative things. And as a parent, a lot of times when that phone rings and it's from that particular campus, my kid's campus, 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking that it's something negative. So always remember to keep a phone log of all the communication that you have with your parents, family members, guardians, and call for the good stuff, and call just because as well. Keep those open lines of communication with your parents, with your guardians. That way you keep parents happy. The less parents call, email the campus about concerns and that, the better chances you have of keeping admin out of your classroom. Tip number 4, to keep admin out of your classroom, ladies and gentlemen, meet those deadlines. Oh my gosh, I can't. This is a big one because it happens to us all. We miss a deadline for filling out a Google form, a questionnaire, a survey or something like that, or to turn in some important documentation, IEPs, 504s, things like that. If you meet those deadlines, no one's going to come after you because you didn't fill it out. You didn't do it in time. So if you keep good notes, reminders, tasks, and calendars, and you fill out everything and turn in everything accordingly in a timely manner before those deadlines, you're not going to have a problem with admin knocking on your door, coming in uninvited, unannounced, because you forgot to fill out a survey that would take 30 seconds or so. How can you avoid skipping deadlines or forgetting deadlines or not meeting them? A couple great tools that I personally use. I like Google Keep. I like Apple Notes. I like a good, clean calendar with different color codes and categories for different things. I like putting deadlines on my calendars. That way I know when things are due. A lot of times my directors, assistant directors will put stuff on everyone's calendar as far as deadlines. And then I just make sure that I set reminders for myself to make sure I fill that stuff out. And also it helps to have an accountability partner. So maybe reach out to a colleague or two, touch base with one another a couple of days before things are due, just to make sure you guys kind of watch each other's back. But that's a really great tip to keep admin out of your classroom, is don't give them a reason to come knocking to your door, opening up your door, coming in the middle of instruction or what have you, because you forgot to meet a deadline for a specific task. So tip number 4, one more time, is meet all deadlines and forms and all that stuff. That way they don't come knocking down your door to try to get that information from you in the middle of instruction. Tip number 5 to help keep admin out of your classroom. Ladies and gentlemen, this is quite possibly the most important one, to the point where I'm going to have to take a sip here, because I'm going to need some extra protein to power through this one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to keep admin out of your classroom, I don't know of any other way to put it, and this is putting it lightly. I've kind of massaged a couple words here. Don't do anything stupid. Okay, I'm going to let that marinate for a little bit. Don't do anything stupid. Don't play any music with vulgarity, sexual situations, adult content in front of your students. If your students play it in their earbuds or accidentally out loud, you didn't do it. You can report it. You can talk to that student, do whatever you got to do, but it didn't come out of your computer. It didn't come out of your phone. And it didn't come blasting through those speakers that you might have, or that big old 52-inch Bluetooth speaker that you might have in your room. Didn't come from you, so you don't have to worry. Phone calls. Don't say anything inappropriate to a parent over the phone, a guardian over the phone. Don't act on impulse with a lot of emotion. Give it 24 hours, give it 12 hours, respond to an angry parent or what have you. State facts only, not opinions. Well, I think that he did it because he was trying to get back at me for the extra homework. Nope, we don't do that. That would be, that falls under the category of doing something stupid. Stick to the facts. Something that we can all do as well. And we hear about this all the time in our district and the news and things like that, unfortunately. But if you're going to play a YouTube video, you should probably vet that video before you actually play it in front of the students, before you pop it into Canvas, Blackboard, Google Classroom, whatever learning management system you might use, or you pop it off in a newsletter. Vet all videos before you send them out. That falls under the category of don't do anything stupid, because that's going to backfire on you and bring admin to your door, or even worse, pull you into the admin office to explain yourself about a situation like this. Keep a chill attitude when replying to emails. Vet your videos. Make wise decisions. Don't play anything that's going to warrant a phone call. And in other words, ladies and gentlemen, don't do anything stupid. So just a quick recap. I've given you 5 tips to help keep admin out of your classroom. Number 1, make it a point to talk to your admin in the hallway. Preempt the classroom visit by catching them up and catching up with them whenever you see them. Tip number 2, keep up with your grades in your gradebook. Adhere to your district policies and procedures as to how many grades need to be in the gradebook per week, per subject, and all that good stuff. Number 3, handle any student and parent situations accordingly and keep admin in the loop of anything that might be going on. That way they don't get blindsided. Tip number 4 to keep admin out of your classroom. Meet deadlines. Get things done, turned in, filled out before they're due. That way no one comes knocking at your door in the middle of instructions, or you don't get that pop-up in the middle of a presentation or what have you because you forgot to fill something out. And tip number 5, to keep admin out of your classroom, the most important one, don't do anything stupid. So I'm going to power through the rest of my protein drink here. And let's go ahead and wrap this up.